Welcome everybody to Pop Culture. I am Scott.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Monica.
And this week we have a hell of a lot of blood-stained walls for you. It's going to be a gruesome week of pop culture. We're starting
lots of blood,
lots of blood,
lots of dismemberment,
and one hell of a headache. We are starting out with James Wan's newest horror feature, Malignant, which has just dropped in cinemas and is available on HBO Max over in the States. I saw a trailer for this and I thought, oh yeah, I like Conjuring. James Wan's doing his horror thing again. And then the film took a turn, and this might be one of the most insane movies I've seen in a long time.
It's bonkers. That's the only way that I can describe this movie. It's completely bonkers.
I didn't find it scary at all.
No, it's
probably
not.
From the opening scene with Jacqueline Mackenzie's extreme overacting through to the Dario Argento lighting.
Mm.
And then it's just time to cut out the cancer, and it's like, what's going on? And then the gate was opened and the movie galloped.
Yep.
Yeah, it took ages for me to shake that feeling that it was almost James Wan doing a self-parody in lots of ways, in the techniques and how it looked.
And I was reading one review where someone was like, I don't know if I'm meant to take this seriously. Is James Wan having fun or is playing a prank?
Yeah, it felt like it to me because the acting was atrocious, and that threw me completely. I was wondering whether it was supposed to be this sort of B-grade horror film, on purpose, because there was a whole lot of qualities to it, which you'd go, yeah, it's all really nicely shot techniques, almost derivative of himself, which is bizarre. I know it's strange to say that about a director who probably has a style, but usually you move on in some way, and this is
all of the things that he's done before, but laid on really thick.
Yeah, it was just really weird.
And the camera, the sharp pans and stuff.
So, that's why I was messaging going, is he making fun of himself? I don't get it. I don't quite get what he's trying to achieve here.
I feel that maybe he's aware enough to try and unintentionally give it this late 80s horror acting homage, but I don't think everyone else was on the same planet as James Wan and took it a bit more seriously and are not as self-aware as he is.
I think it's all very deliberate.
Yeah.
Because you got some pretty solid actors in there.
I think Annabelle Wallis is probably the best part of the movie because she is a pretty good actress. We won't mention that one Mummy movie. And she's
the only good thing in it besides Sophia Boutella.
Yeah, absolutely. But I feel that everybody else in the film is just sort of really taking a back seat.
No, I just found even her hammed it up a bit. That's why I was really not sure where I was sitting watching it, and it has all of its shock moments and visceral visuals and things like that, especially when you get towards the end, obviously. But I couldn't escape this idea that I'm not sure if I'm supposed to take it seriously or not, and I don't think that's communicated. It's maybe we're just not on the same page as James Wan in that sense, but I think there needed to be some other cue to.
I think I hit a point where I turned off that part of my brain. I'm like, I just can't I can't approach this as a serious horror film because it got too silly. The moment that so we're sort of it starts off almost like a ghost story, I guess. And this woman, we're going to spoil everything, so if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want it ruined, because it has a twist.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ruin that twist in a minute. But, so if you want to wait, and then come back to this episode. But anyway, starts off like a ghost story. I thought, okay, cool. Like, but she's linked to this spirit, or it's haunting her because it's killed her husband and whatever. And then she's seeing these other murders happen, and I'm like, okay, so it's like and I'm like, okay, there's obviously some link here because we're throwing back to that weird scene at the beginning with Jacqueline Mackenzie's doctor, and then okay, it's a slasher movie now, and she's seeing this slasher kill people, and then from the moment that the villain Gabriel made the knife out of the medical trophy, I was like, this is fucking stupid. And I turned off that part of my brain where I'm like, this is just silly. And then it just got more and more bonkers, like you said, when the sort of the reveal comes about.
Yep. What a reveal. Like you can piece it together, definitely before the police do. And you're just like, how much of it are they going to actually? Oh, they're showing everything. Oh dear God!
Yeah, it's much worse than I thought. The point where it was weird. When I figured it out was like when the detective was chasing.
Yeah, same.
That's when I'm like, oh, okay. It's like on the back of her head.
Yeah, you notice the movement.
The movement, and like I could just like the weird masking, because obviously they had like a face of Annabelle Wallace on the back of the the actress who played Gabriel. What a physical performance!
Yeah, I have to say the way that they're able to sort of contort and move like some sort of Cirque du Soleil spider was really impressive.
Yeah, she's done like a ton of horror movies now, playing like these freaky physical performances.
Well, it definitely shows it like how much it is one of those ones where you can't quite tell what's special effects and what's the real body moving around, and it's definitely really effective. That sort of, I don't know how to describe it. It's not even like a reverse or backward movement. It's sort of sideways and forward and back all at the same time. Yeah, it is probably the most impressive part of the film for me was that. Yeah. But the sort of overuse of these same techniques we've seen again and again and again and again just sort of made it lose the originality that it probably could have had for me. And then I actually watched the twist amused more than shocked, because I just sort of went, oh, okay, there's Stephen King, Dark Half, there's this, and then just takes it steps further, and I go, oh, all right, yep, okay, and I just sort of found it, I don't know, just amusing in the end. It was definitely wacky, that's for sure.
It is.
So if you're watching along, the twist obviously that Gabriel is her like absorbed evil twin. And when you finally see the little
and awakened by an abusive husband who sort of smacks the poor female lead's character against a wall. So once again, domestic violence is the true villain of this movie.
Yep.
But
open the door.
In saying that, you have to sort of give the film kudos for having the gusto to go full tilt weird with the reveal. I can't help but it's silly and it's funny, and I can't help but kind of admire it in a way, because at least it's something sort of fresh, maybe.
Well, it's certainly like I don't remember the last time I watched a movie this nuts.
Yeah, right. Neither can I. It's just nuts. And I still quite don't know how to react to it.
Yeah, I don't know if I loved it or I hated it. Like, I just don't know.
I guess I just sort of got, little taints of things that kept pulling me out of it, and that's why I said it felt too self-aware in lots of places. So, I had obvious images of the Dark Half, and then Total Recall, I've forgotten the name of the creature on.
You know what you mean.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah, and then there was even moments where I swear the frame and design of that cloak and the expression on her face was almost, you could overlay it on some of the stuff in Saw, and it match. And so it was just this weird deja vu going on with a lot of it, and based on these previous films, and then of course James Wan's own films. So I guess that helped make it even more weirder because you're watching that, getting that effect. It's not necessarily overt, but it's certainly there. But yeah, it's very crazy at the end.
It's very crazy, and I can completely see it becoming a cult film, like 100%.
Sure. I think I might be disappointed more than like I didn't like it. I think I enjoyed it, but I think going into it, I was like, oh, I really want to watch, like, I love what he did with The Conjuring, and he didn't do Conjuring 3, and it sucked, so maybe he was doing this, and it's going to be as good, and it wasn't that sort of serious kind of that I wanted.
Sure.
So maybe I just, like, I didn't get what I thought I was going to get, and maybe that's why I was sort of, like, two minds about it. Because if I had watched this in my teen years, I would have been like, this is fantastic!
I just found it didn't feel sort of all unified as a single concept going through it, and like whether it's style or something like that, there was some disjointed points in it that I can't put my finger on, and it never made it.
I get you. It goes from like weird, eerie, like seeing the killer and stuff to like full-on detective chasing action sequence, and then at the end it's just like a bloodbath.
Yeah.
But then there's those great sort of perceptual switches of the worlds, like, you know, where the world changes. Yeah. So it had all these moments which were sort of surreal almost, and I really enjoyed that. And I felt it was a shame that wasn't used to more dramatic effect or in some way integrated more into the story rather than just showing the switch.
Yeah.
But it was really impressive, those parts.
Yeah, it would have been great to have seen those points in the film to really look into the character thinking that she's losing her mind, and you know, is she actually doing it, and she starts to believe what the police are telling her, you're the suspect, we think you are responsible for these murders, and she starts to believe that because she's in some kind of dissociative state or something. That would have been amazing to explore.
It keeps it so clear that she is not.
Yeah.
Like for the character. To the point, like, she's telling the police and they're, like, drawing up sketches and like, oh, yeah, all right. Makes sense.
Sure.
And then the super strength, and it gets a bit odd.
Yeah, at the end,
Yeah, I think this film suffers from trying to do too much and integrate too many genres of film as well, where it just needed to stick to the one concept the entire time and just run with it. It would have made it a lot more cohesive and less confusing.
It's something.
Oh, I think if you enjoy your horror films, if you love horror films, you're going to enjoy it. It's certainly going to give you satisfaction in spades for a lot of those horror things that you go out for in terms of monsters and whatnot. Slasher stuff.
Like, honestly, like the some of the body horror stuff really skeeved me out in it. Like I haven't the reveal as Jason said, silly and funny. I still felt like uncomfortable.
Oh, it's disgusting.
It's really gross.
Yeah, there's sort of. I guess it had a bit of a Cronenberg feel to parts of it. So it's that's the uncomfortable bit.
Parasitic nature of the thing, and it's gross. It is. It's just icky. And then the ending I didn't enjoy, where it was like, and we're all good, no problemo.
Yes, well,
stuff my brain back inside my head, and I'm all good.
While potentially setting up for an opportunity to create a sequel.
Malignant.
Yep. Malignant Carter.
Yeah. More malignant.
Malignant. It's spread to the rest of the brain.
It's her entire body now. No, they separate. That's what's got to happen.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. So that's maybe where I stand on. I'm
Very undecided.
Lukewarm. I'm intrigued, but it just didn't have enough to like completely win me over.
Yeah, I just wish it maybe committed to doing less. Sometimes less is more.
Yeah, I still don't know what it was trying to do. I walk away from that going, I still think he's making fun of himself, but I can't be certain.
Yep, and it's certainly divided critics. It's either painfully average or bloody brilliant. So
Well, there you go.
see it and let us know what you think. James Wan's Malignant. Thank you for listening to this episode of Pop Culture. I've been Scott.
I'm still Jason.
And I'm still Monica.